Hey there, it's Lauren from Rustic Honey, and today I invite you back to our farmhouse. It is very spring like here. We've got lots of chores going on, lots of little tasks and to dos, and I hope you'll come along with us for a good message and a good reminder as we move through the winter and into the longer spring days ahead. All right, let's get started in the kitchen. Please excuse my voice this week if I sound a little bit different. I've been a little bit hoarse the past couple weeks, so just bear with me as I'm working through some of my vocal issues. We are going to make some pancakes this morning and a little sausage. You're going to have a lazy morning breakfast. And of course, as usual, I have plenty of help this morning. Some days I don't mind the kids helping me at all, and this happens to be one of those days. I let the kids take turns. That's another thing I have learned over the years is it's easier for me to manage one child at a time. So I have the littlest one help me with the dry ingredients, and then my middle wanted to help with the wet ingredients, and that's a little bit more manageable. But there are some mornings, just so you know, that I like to sneak into my kitchen and start pancakes before anyone knows about it so that I can just do it in peace, because it's a little faster. You know, sometimes we have to slow down a little bit to help the little ones or have the little ones help us. Some mornings I think maybe I just need to slow down. And that's always something that I need to go back to because some days I just have lots of plans. I have lots of things on my list and I just want to knock breakfast out for my family. But I do know how special this is and I will miss it someday. So I try to take the time to slow down, even if it's probably only takes an extra 5 minutes to make breakfast or to prepare breakfast with them. Some days it feels like an eternity. If you've had little ones, I'm sure you know what I mean. But it's important. Slow down, enjoy these little things, and make these special memories in the kitchen. Oh gosh. Apparently, I'm the one here making messes after I'm talking about my children. I let the egg roll off the counter, so I'll have to clean that up too, but it matches my dirty floor at the moment. We've got to get to that later. For this pancake recipe, it's one of my favorite go-tos. I'm going to either write it in the description box below or link it to my blog. But it comes out good every single time, probably because there's a ton of butter in it, but it's delicious. They are not sourdough pancakes, although I enjoy those too. I have a recipe for sourdough waffles, but for pancakes, I just prefer this regular recipe with all-purpose flour and baking powder. So I'm going to put that below for you, and we're going to drop these pancakes and let those start to sizzle on the griddle. This large griddle that I have is amazing. I bought one for my mom, I think a couple Christmases ago, and she loved it so much. And loved how there's just so much room on it. It's so much larger than any other griddle I've ever had. Same with my mom. So she ended up buying one for me then, like the following year for my birthday. And I mentioned it in my last video when I was making English muffins because I can get them done so quickly all in one batch. And it's the same thing for pancakes. And when I'm making sausage and then pancakes and then I can just throw on some eggs, it makes cleanup really simple at the end. So I'll link this below if anyone has a big family or likes to just cook all in one. I feel like it's like my little indoor Blackstone. It's obviously not the same as a Blackstone, but I feel like it's my indoor Blackstone because of the large cooking area. I can make anything on it that I want. It's perfect when we do grilled cheeses too, because I have to make several sandwiches at the same time. So it makes cooking go so much quicker because I can do so much at once. And that's what we needed this morning. We are having a fairly slow morning, even though we woke up early because my little ones and my husband actually slept outside in a tent. It was a camp out night at our house. The weather's been so nice here that the kids have been playing outside and they wanted to have a little bonfire and a camp out. So my husband is the biggest trooper in the world, and he put all that together for them so that they could camp out last night. So everyone's a little bit tired today. So I thought a slow breakfast with some pancakes and sausage sounded like the ticket. So that's what we're doing this morning. And then I think we're going to head right back outside because it's just absolutely gorgeous here. And this week, our weather is going to take some dips. That's probably why my voice is the way it is. And allergies are up and down because we've had 80-degree weather this week down to the 20s again within a matter of hours, really. I guess it was really windy, did a little rain, shower, not much, but we're thankful for any rain that we can get. And then it just dipped. So we spent one morning outside in shorts, and then the next morning we were back to our winter coats. So it's been that kind of week here. But I'm just finishing off these eggs on the griddle. The scrambled eggs are not the easiest thing to do on this because they do try to run to that the drain that's on here. But if you just tend to them, it's just the quickest way. And then again, you don't have to dirty another pan. So it was a yummy big breakfast. Chocolate chips completed the pancakes for my kiddos. I kind of let them decorate those. And we just had ourselves a yummy late breakfast. All right, we're going to do a few quick chores and then we're going to get outside. I went ahead and sent the kids outside to start playing, and I'm going to do my normal morning routine. I got the dishes done. I lit my candle. That always makes a big difference. And then I'm just starting some laundry. With my towels every once in a while, if I have a pair of shoes to wash, I will stick them in with my towels. It seems to work pretty well. Let me know your best tips on keeping your shoes clean though, because I've decided that living in the country is really hard to keep white shoes white, no matter how hard I try. We just have a lot of dirt and grass and lovely things like that here. So I have a hard time keeping white when it comes to my tennis shoes. So let me know your best shoe washing tips, please, in the comments below. If you're new to my channel, you may not know we are expecting a baby later this spring. So I have been trying to do my best keeping up with just the daily tasks and chores and staying really organized with those things and creating really good homemaking habits throughout my week so that I can then have extra time to tackle some larger projects before this baby arrives. Lately, I have found myself very frustrated. It's really exciting in the new year to do those things. And then I feel like we get into this weird time period between winter and spring, and I just become a little bit frustrated with all of the things. I feel like I'm getting the things done, but they're so mundane and boring, and I just want to get to the bigger, better projects. All of these small things feel like they take up so much time. Picking up those lonely pieces of a puzzle that got dumped out somewhere, someone's laundry is in the corner instead of in the laundry basket, and pretty soon, inside of your own mom brain, you can get really irritated with your family. Please tell me I'm not the only one, and let me know in the comments. But I have to bring myself back to being grateful for all the things, but there are some days that is even hard. You really try to practice your gratitude, but there are just going to be hard days where you can't quite appreciate the golf club on the back porch for no reason. So let's move outside and we'll continue to talk about these things a bit more. But it's too pretty outside to not enjoy it. So I washed off the table there. I feel like in a matter of days, it's so dusty here, it can get really dirty. And I'm hoping later today to move these chickens out of the garden and to get ready into our spring mode for garden season. We're all getting the itch because it has been so nice here. But we're going to take a little bit of time to do our morning devotional, because this is something I like to do first thing when I wake up and have that quiet time. And if I miss that time, then I'll often just skip it for the day. But I've come to the realization lately that just is kind of a practice of acting like I'm too busy for God and His Word. So it doesn't take me that long, and it really does put me in a better frame of mind. So I decided to sit down outside this morning, listen to the chickens in the garden, and read through some of this scripture. And boy, was it an eye-opening moment for me when I read through some of the things in my morning devotional. One being the line here in the devotional that says, "She was faithful to God in the small everyday tasks and trusted that He would be faithful to her." And I thought, well, that sounds very timely considering how I spent my weekend really frustrated over all of the small things, frustrated over all the mundane everyday tasks. And sometimes I think I just can't help but smile when I read these devotionals, because it's like God is just reaching out and saying, hey, I think you're finally ready to hear this. Here it is. And He just laid it on me today, and it made me so much more grateful. One of the takeaway questions at the end of the devotional was, in what small daily tasks can you be faithful? And I thought, okay, that's what this video is about, because we are still doing the mundane things. I know you are too. There's always dishes to be done. There's laundry to be folded. There's little motor cars in the yard that need some fixing. There are always things. There's eggs to gather, cows to check. There's lots of chores around here. It's an endless supply, really. And I'm sure you're in a season of life that feels exactly the same. So, my encouragement to you is to be faithful in the small things. Now, depending on the day, even the smallest things can feel like a lot. It's easy to get overwhelmed for me. So, I really love to physically write out my plan for the week. I look through what are the top 3 things I need to do every day in my business. I think through what are the rocks that I need to move in order to get closer to those bigger project achievements. And I also think about what are the 5-minute tasks that often I will do in procrastination of getting the rocks done. So I try to divide out my list into different segments so that I can be the most productive when I do have time. And on Mondays, my kids are all home. We do a little bit of what I call homeschool. It's basically like review of what they're doing at school. We have a 4-day school week here, though. So Mondays are kind of on me to review spelling words with my kids and make sure they get some reading in. And for me on Mondays, I've learned to focus on small tasks so that I can feel like I'm accomplished, getting a few little things done that are kind of monotonous. So that when I get interrupted with mud puddles, because my kids kind of got carried away with the garden hose, then we can stop, take a break, take a bath, and I can continue to knock out a few things for work while they're playing. I definitely don't use these moments for any kind of deep work or anything that takes a lot of extra focus when I have 3 kids running around. So I have to wait for more quiet times for those. Now I'm going to fast forward on you a little bit here. A couple hours later, I could not kick the craving for some chocolate chip cookies. But yet I was feeling lazy. I didn't really want to throw together chocolate chip cookies. So I'm throwing together Davy Crockett's because this is just the easiest sheet pan cookie you could possibly ever make. And I basically don't even have to look at the recipe. They're perfect for a big crowd. I think I've shared these on my Instagram before in a reel or something, but it's basically 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of oats, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar. And then you put in a teaspoon of baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Again, like I said, I don't really have to reference the recipe at this point. You put in a couple eggs and a cup of oil. So not the healthiest cookies. Oh, and don't forget the vanilla. You cannot forget the vanilla. It's one of the most important ingredients, if you ask me, into any baked good. You got to have good vanilla. So we're going to throw that in here. I swear today I am accident prone or something. I think we're all just tired, but I about dropped another egg on my way to this recipe. So we're going to throw in the oil here, and that just helps it come all together. And we just throw it together on a cookie sheet and throw it in the oven for 15 minutes at 350. I will be sure to just write all this down in the description box too, so you don't have to memorize all this. For the chocolate chips, I think that the most important part on this is I like to do different chocolate chips. So these are really delicious with just a semi-sweet chocolate chip, but I like to throw in a little bit of milk chocolate chips, butterscotch chocolate chips, and semi-sweet chocolate chips. So I do like a trifecta here in my cookies. The past couple times I've made it, I've had all of those chips on hand. And then to make them a little bit prettier on top, sometimes I will put a few extra chocolate chips just to make it look nice and even. And we'll stick those in the oven and they'll be ready in no time. Now, when they first come out of the oven, they're super soft. So you do want to wait a little bit longer before you start serving these. But my family was so excited about these cookies, I didn't want to wait. So we actually ate the first few with just a fork because they're so soft and gooey. They're so yummy. I will say these cookies you don't want to overbake, so stick to the 15-minute mark. They will stiffen up a little bit more for you so that they're not this soft, but they just happen to be really warm in this video. These cookies are always the most amazing the day you make them. They're also not bad the next day, but I will say they dry out a little bit more quickly than your regular chocolate chip cookies. So if you need something quickly for a big crowd, they are your go-to. All right, now we got to get back out of the kitchen and get back to some chores. And living on a farm, there are always plenty of chores to do. Our big chore for today is to move our chickens across to a different pasture. They have been wintering here in our garden, which has been super convenient for kitchen scraps. And I've really enjoyed having them close to the house the past few weeks because it's been so nice. We can hear them outside. They're so happy pecking around. They're just kind of fun to watch. So We did need to get them out of the garden though, because we want to get our garden plowed and get it ready for the spring planting season. So we had ourselves a little bit of a chicken drive in this video, and I wish I would have gotten better footage, but basically we have this electric fence that helps keep predators out, and we broke it down into smaller areas until we had the chickens corralled in a small little section, and we all took a hold of the fence and walked them across the road to a different pasture. We had a couple get loose, so we had to have our own little rodeo here and there. But as you can see, my son is already excited to get planting in the garden. On the cattle front, we have been checking cows a lot lately because we have new baby calves on the farm. I always think calving season is an exciting time of year, and I especially love it when it's nice outside. It's more fun to go and check cows and make sure everything's going well, rather than wondering if you have a new baby on the ground and it's freezing outside. It just makes it a lot easier on everyone. And this year we've had quite a few heifers giving birth. If you're not familiar with cattle, that's just the first time mamas, so they've never had a baby before. So there are things that can go wrong. So you definitely have to check them a little bit more often than your cows. So we're just checking up on one here, new baby, and riding around because a lot of times we need to count our calves and they are so easy to miss amongst these big fields. So that's always a fun chore to go and count the cows together. We also have new puppies on the farm, and they are so darn cute, these little hound puppies. And my daughter is probably the most obsessed. She loves going to see the puppies. But we are just all about the babies here, and it makes me even more excited expecting our own baby later this spring. Oh, little hound puppy ears are just the softest thing on earth. We are going to keep staying faithful with the spelling words and keeping up around the house, fixing the doors and doing the chores, and I hope that you'll stick with us as we do. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you found it encouraging and uplifting in your own pursuit of doing all of the small things. Please like and subscribe. I'd love to hang out with you again, and we'll see you back here again soon.